Last time on the Skip and Josh podcast.
So since the last time we spoke, you recall I did not have the sports channels last time we spoke.
I recall, of course, yeah. You still don't, or you got them?
So since then, I subscribed to the sports channels, and then I unsubscribed from them.
Oh my God.
You're listening to the Skip and Josh podcast with Skip Sherman and Josh Obadia.
Okay, Skip, we're going to count down our favorite cartoon characters today. But before we get to that, a couple of musical notes, pardon the pun, that I came across this week. I'm sure you have listened to the Ongoing History of New Music podcast.
Yes, you hooked me on that, so I've been listening to the new episodes as they come.
But I went back and listened to an old episode, actually. And you may or may not have listened to this one. It's, I don't know, from 3 years ago or maybe 4 years ago. It's about Pearl Jam. And so...
Oh, yeah. I listened to all those, yeah.
He basically counts down like 10 interesting things about fill in the blank. And this episode was about Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
So the thing I found really interesting, and I don't know if you remember this, I'm not going to tell you all 10 things, but did you know what Pearl Jam wanted to call their band before they landed on Pearl Jam?
No, what was it? I'm sure I listened to this, I just don't remember.
The original name they wanted to use was Mookie Blaylock.
Oh, yeah. Because someone has a relation, knows Mookie. There's some connection between the band and the former NBA player, right?
I'm not sure. And actually, Blaylock originally was okay with it, but then all the lawyers got involved and said no.
Well, I mean, it's pretty funny. Imagine it could change the whole. Imagine if they came out with exactly the same music that they did, but with a different name. Would the band have been as popular if they were called Mookie Blaylock?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
That's so funny. My God.
And I have another musical note, completely unrelated. So,
yeah,
you know that I listen to alternative music. And there's like two alternative stations in Toronto. There's Indie 88 and there's 102.1 The Edge. And I think you've listened to them when you've been in Toronto the few times you've come to visit.
Yeah, I have.
And so you know what kind of music I'm going to hear or you would hear or anyone would hear on those stations. So the other day, have you heard of this artist called Bon Iver?
Well, is that how you pronounce his name? I always say Bon Iver. But
right.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not sure if it's
but
Bon Iver.
He's like a kind of weird music, right? It's like it's
not
even music.
It's not exactly
just
alternative.
It's just like sounds, isn't it?
There's actually lyrics, but
okay.
But anyway, that's not even the part I wanted to tell you. He has collaborated with another artist,
right?
And that's
remind me because I've heard the song.
That's the song that I heard on Indie 88, and when I heard it, I was stunned because I would never in my wildest dreams imagine that I would hear this artist on that station.
Who was it?
Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah. Taylor Swift. Yeah, I knew it. That's super funny. So you're a Taylor Swift fan now that she's no good anymore.
No, I'm not a fan. I've only heard the song once. I don't even know if it's a good song or not. I don't remember.
Mailbag.
So I do have some listener mail before we get into our countdown of cartoon characters this week.
Great.
A lot of listener mail. It's pretty wild. So I actually posted our Ben Folds episode on Reddit in a Ben Folds group, and I actually got a couple of replies, which was interesting. So there's a user named Dan Goodspeed, a Reddit user, who said, thank you for the episode. It inspired him to make his own top 7. And I won't read you his top 7, but his number 1 song was Underground, which is from the Ben Folds 5 debut album, the same one with Julianne and he also had a couple of songs that was in our list, Army, Best Imitation of Myself, that type of thing. So that was great. And we had a little bit of reaction to our food episode because I sent you a link, I'm sure. Iconic Montreal Steakhouse Moishes announced that they're closing. They've actually been closed since the pandemic started.
Well, they're moving.
They're moving, right? But they're closing this location now, and people are a little bit sad about it. But they are moving, and they would have closed that location anyways, just a matter of when. And my sister commented actually on our Facebook page saying that how come Beauties wasn't on our top 7 list? Have you ever been to Beauties?
I've been to Beauties, and it made my honorable mentions, I think.
I think it might have, but I mean, I haven't been there since I was a kid. So I felt weird, like just putting it on the list when I haven't been there since I was like 10.
It's actually not that great.
It's just been there forever. Like, really.
For brunch, I don't know if you've ever been to L'Avenue, but L'Avenue is much better than Beauty's.
L'Avenue has the reputation as the best brunch place, right? Yeah. And then a new listener, his name is Jesse Jackson. He's from Dallas, Texas. No relation to, the political
what about the basketball player?
Or no relation to any of the other famous Jesse Jacksons. This is like he's his own person. So he said he really enjoyed our announcer episode, but he didn't know half the people because it's so hockey focused and Canadian focused, right? So he's like, as a Texan, American Texan, he didn't really know a lot of them. And he loved our episode of the top 7 songs with names. He gave us his top 7 with names, and I'll just give you a couple of them. I mean, Beth by Kiss, which actually could have been in my honorable mentions, but I really don't like that song. That was in his list. And also Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin and Peggy Sue by Buddy Holly. These are more real classic songs,
Right.
So thanks for listening, Jesse. And that's listener mail.
Okay, great.
Top 7 cartoon characters.
This was my topic.
Your topic. How much trouble did you have making your list? Was it difficult?
It wasn't difficult at all. I originally made a list of about, 15 or 20, and cutting it down was quite easy. In fact, I could have just gone with 6 and I would have been fine. I didn't even need to go to 7.
I also had a really long list, and at first I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this down to 7. It's impossible. And I even texted you saying I might need to extend the list. But in the end, it came together. And I'm happy with my 7. I don't know how happy I am with my order, but I'm going to go with what I've got here.
Okay.
So cartoon characters. And just to tell you that I did a bit of cheating because I have a couple that are duos.
Oh, well, that's not fair because I've split up my duos.
Ah. Okay, well, what can I tell you?
Number 7 for me is, and I don't even know if you've heard of this one, it's Michigan J. Frog. So Michigan J. Frog.
Of course I've heard of him.
Well, he's not very popular. He's like he's not even a supporting actor. He's like, I don't know what you call him. He's an extra.
Well, isn't he in just like 2 or 3 episodes of Bugs Bunny? Is that?
Well, I only know of one.
Right.
And it's the one where, he's a singing frog and this guy finds him and he only sings in front of this guy, and this guy thinks this is great. I'm going to go tell everybody about this singing frog and I'm going to make all kinds of money. But then anytime he shows the frog to anyone else, the frog just sits there like a regular frog and does nothing. And then when no one else is around, the frog sings like he has the best voice on the planet.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
So, and also I didn't even realize this until I did some research. Apparently, the CW television network used Michigan J. Frog as their logo for a few years.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
So
you must really love that episode for him to be number 7 on your list.
I do love that episode.
Considering his the breadth of his work is so limited, right?
His repertoire is one episode. I don't even know if you call it an episode. You call it a skit, I guess, not even an episode.
Right, because the Bugs Bunny cartoons, he's only one skit of an episode. Right.
So these are all skits, not so much episodes.
Right. All right. So my number 7, you're going to hate.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think you're going to hate my whole list.
Okay. You might hate mine.
Although, yeah, you're going to hate mine. That's good. Are you a fan of South Park, Josh?
No.
So number 7 on my list is Eric Cartman.
I am a cop, and you will respect my authority.
He's the, I don't want to body shame anybody, or especially cartoon characters. He's the fat kid, South Park. South Park started in 1997 and it's still going. It's unreal, that show. And I'm not like a huge fan. I haven't watched every episode of South Park. I'm not one of these guys. But when I do watch it, I really enjoy it. Like they're really quite brilliant sometimes. So Eric Cartman, he's like more or less the protagonist because the other guys are more straight characters where Cartman's always the one that's getting them into trouble, So I mean, there's lots of clips of him that are hysterical. And like my favorite episode of South Park is Cartman wants to get the Nintendo Wii, and it's coming out in like a week. So he keeps going to the store, and then the guy tells him it's only coming in a week. So he can't wait for a week. He can't wait. He's too impatient. So he devises this plan to freeze himself in the snow in the mountains, and then he'll wake up in a week. That way the time of the week will go by faster. But what happens is when he freezes himself for hundreds of years, and he wakes up in the future.
This is hilarious.
It's really funny. And then he calls himself from the future, telling him not to freeze himself. Anyways, it's I can go on and on and on about the whole episode. It's quite brilliant, but Eric Cartman is my number 7.
He calls himself from the future. It sounds like the Terminator.
It's sort of like that. Actually, do you remember the TV show Buck Rogers?
Yes.
From the 80s? Okay.
Yes.
So the opening of this episode has the Buck Rogers theme and the same opening, but all in cartoon form, but with them. It's really brilliant, actually.
Number 6 on my list is also from Looney Tunes, and it's Tweety Bird, also known as just Tweety.
Tweety was in my honorable mentions.
Now, it's interesting because Tweety was invented in 1941, and now all we talk about is tweets.
That's right.
And they have nothing to do with each other. By the way...
how do we know they have nothing to do with each other? We don't know.
Well, because in 1941, Twitter didn't exist.
No, but Twitter may have, Well, I mean, they had their logo's a bird, so it's a bird tweeting.
Except that Twitter is blue and Tweety's yellow.
Yeah.
So, just to mention that Tweety is one of many characters on Looney Tunes that is voiced by Mel Blanc.
Oh, he voices practically all of them, no?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah.
Actually, he really only did the voice from its inception until 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And then other people have done the voice since then. Although, to be honest, I don't know how many new skits were done after 1989. So I don't know why they needed a new voice.
Right. Is your whole list Looney Tunes?
It might be.
Oh, shoot. One of my favorite Looney Tunes skits is Tweety Bird when he's singing the song. He's in the drain, like he's in the bathtub.
Yes. That's a good one.
Singing in the bathtub, happy once again. Watching all my troubles go swinging down the drain.
I forget the song, but it is a good one.
So my number 6 is a duo. Sorry about that, Josh. It's Rocky and Bullwinkle. Do you like Rocky and Bullwinkle? Or
I mean, I've heard of them. I know who they are. I can't tell you any skit that they've been in.
They had their own show, the Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends show, which actually started in 1959.
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose.
It's really bizarre. The comedy is out of whack. It's often like doesn't make sense. Their arch nemesis could have made my list, which is Boris and Natasha. They were like they're usually like trying to foil them, and I love Rocky and Bullwinkle because they're kind of like a Batman and Robin, except they kind of fight crime like without being dark and mysterious. They're just like just in their own comedic way. So, and I actually went to a Rocky and Bullwinkle film festival. I think I had the ticket somewhere when I was looking through the old concert tickets for our concert episode. It was in 91 or 92. It was part of the Just for Laughs festival in Montreal. So,
very interesting.
Number 6.
Number 5 on my list is The Roadrunner, also from Looney Tunes.
My God. So listen, I was going to ask you this. So whenever it's your topic or my topic, obviously you've chose this topic because you have certain cartoon characters in mind, right? And then you're going to build the list around them.
Right.
So that's why I was asking you if your whole list is Looney Tunes, because then it could have just been your top 7 Looney Tunes characters.
It could have, but actually, it's not all Looney Tunes. My entire list
Okay.
is not Looney. I could have made it all Looney Tunes, but I didn't.
Right. Okay.
So I should mention, I didn't mention this for the first two characters, but Looney Tunes was created by Chuck Jones.
Okay.
So that's important to mention. And of course, the voice of the Roadrunner. Well, the Roadrunner doesn't talk, so there is no voice.
Well, he has the beep beep, but yeah.
Right. But I mean, you don't really need a voice to do the beep beep.
No.
So I don't really have much to say about the Roadrunner, except that I remember when I watched, I was always rooting for the Coyote to win at least one time. And he never wins. And it's so frustrating. I'm like, how does the Roadrunner win every single time? It's so
And
annoying.
then the thing is, like when we were a kid, like I used to watch this all the time when I was quite young, right?
Yeah.
And at one point you're like, okay, this time the Coyote's got like a foolproof plan. He's got dynamite. He's got some contraption that he's bought from the Acme company. And as a kid, you're like, this time he's gonna actually do it. And like, it's like they tease you. Like as a kid, they're really like teasing you. And then of course, like you said, he never gets him.
By the way, Acme is a real company.
I'm sure it is. We should see if they want to sponsor our show.
Yeah,
All right, are you ready for my number 5?
I am.
This is something you've never heard of. I could probably talk about this for a whole episode. I've had it on my list of topics to talk about for a while, but I never brought it up because I know you're completely uninterested and you're actually going to have you're not even going to know what I'm talking about. And actually, I'm almost going to be speaking another language if I get into discussing this. So I'm going to keep it as short as possible. So the character's name is Ahsoka Tano. Yes, I see your face. She is a character from Star Wars The Clone Wars, which is an animated series that aired from 2008 to 2014. And then there was a new season 7 of The Clone Wars, which came out this year. That's why I had it on my list. It came out this year when Disney Plus launched. Season 7 of The Clone Wars was there immediately. And season 7 of The Clone Wars is the best thing I've watched on TV this year.
That's high praise.
It's not even close to anything else. Now, if you're not a Star Wars fan, you're not going to agree with that. Like, you're going to say, well, what is this? Like, you have to really be a fan. And if you're some kind of mega fan like me, or even more than me, my son, who knows way more about Star Wars than I ever thought he could when I introduced him to the Star Wars movie when he was like 7, right? Like, it is a brilliant show. The season was brilliant, and she is the protagonist of... She's in all the seasons, but she's the main character of season 7. So anyways, so just to tell you, Ahsoka Tano is the Padawan. You know what a Padawan is? I'm speaking another language to you.
Sorry, I don't know what that is.
So it's like before you're a Jedi, you're like a junior Jedi. So you're a Padawan. So you train with a master. Okay, so she's the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. You know who Anakin Skywalker is?
I've heard the name.
Okay, Anakin Skywalker was a Jedi that eventually went to the dark side and became Darth Vader.
Okay.
Okay, so she is the learner under Anakin Skywalker, obviously before he becomes Darth Vader.
I can't stay here any longer. Not now.
The Jedi Order is your life. You can't just throw it away like this. Ahsoka, you are making a mistake.
Maybe. But I have to sort this out on my own. Without the Council. And without you.
I understand. More than you realize, I understand wanting to walk away from the Order.
I know.
Okay.
That's my number 5. I don't want to get I don't want to nerd out on you here, Josh, because you really don't know what I'm talking about.
Too
so there's no
late.
point.
You already did.
Yeah, too late. I already did. Yeah.
So next on my list is another Looney Tunes character,
Oh,
of course,
Yeah.
by the name of Sylvester the Cat. I don't need to tell you about Sylvester. Of
Oh,
course.
I see. You could have had Sylvester and Tweety together, and
But
you
I
could have had
separated
another-
them.
Yeah, I got you.
So, and the reason I have Sylvester higher than Tweety is, again, Tweety always wins against Sylvester. Just like the Roadrunner always wins against the Coyote. And so, one time, I would kind of like it if Sylvester won. I mean, I don't want Sylvester to eat Tweety, of course.
Well, he ate him many times, but then he spat him up.
Right.
Yeah, I never understood that.
So, actually, Sylvester was created by Fritz Freleng.
Oh yeah, Fritz Feeling, yeah.
but still also voiced by Mel Blanc.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And there's too many skits that Sylvester
Oh.
appears in to even name them.
There's tons. There's so many. It's absurd, no?
Yeah, I mean, I think he
Yeah.
was on every episode.
Shut your big yap or I'll let you have another.
And by the way, I should say, sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
I referred to Sylvester as he. I'm not sure if Sylvester is male or female.
Well, I mean, it's a male name, but
And the voice
You know
is
when
the voice is male, but
yeah. I'm sure he's a male. All right, my number 4 is, you knew this was going to be on my list. I think you probably thought this could be number 1, but it's number 4. It's a duo, and that's Ren and Stimpy. So Ren and Stimpy, you know, it ran for 5 seasons. It started in 1991. How do you describe Ren and Stimpy? It's brilliantly funny, but it's also really gross with some kind of weird animation style. I was such a big fan. I had like the comic books, I had the CD soundtrack, all kinds of stuff. And I mean, like, I don't know what to say about Ren and Stimpy, but if for Ren and Stimpy novices out there, you can Google Happy Happy Joy Joy. We'll give you a hint into what's going on. And then there's some great episodes. Like, one of them is called The Big Sleep, and the other one is Space Madness. Those are 2 of my favorites. So Stimpy was Ren was this angry Chihuahua who had like an explosive temper. I think he's a Chihuahua. Anyways, he's a dog. And Stimpy was a really, really dumb cat. And somehow these 2 were friends, but whatever.
But I suspect I can no longer turn my back on Cadet Stimpy. The rigors of space travel have somehow twisted his mind. He's gone crazy. He's got the space madness.
so you're actually going to have 9 on your list of 7.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you asked me to change it, I would just put Ren as number 4. And by the way, Ren's name is Ren Hoek, Hoek, in case you wanted to know. He had a last name.
Who knew they had last names?
Yeah, and if I had to choose between Rocky and Bullwinkle, I would put Rocky for sure, because he's more of the hero compared to Bullwinkle.
Okay, number 3 on my list.
Uh-huh.
I don't know that you'll be surprised, is Wile E. Coyote. I've separated him from the Roadrunner. And I already mentioned how I wish that he would have won sometimes.
Yeah.
It was really frustrating for me. I felt bad for Wile E.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he's really not a bad guy, actually.
Well, he's trying to kill the Roadrunner. So
Well, I don't know if he's trying to kill the Roadrunner, but, you know.
Well, he's trying to blow him up with dynamite. He's
That's
trying to,
true.
like...
But I mean, listen,
him off
if
a
you
cliff.
had to deal with the Roadrunner, you would want to blow him up too.
Well, the Roadrunner, once you try to get him once or twice and you can't get him, and the way he kind of taunts him with that beep beep, it's really, really like technical foul there for taunting. No, the beep beep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I wonder if the Roadrunner and the Coyote existed today, would the Coyote order his stuff from Amazon, like instead of Acme?
Maybe. But you know what, actually, changing the subject slightly, if this show existed today, there's so many things that happened on the show that they couldn't even put on television anymore.
No. So many things in Bugs Bunny and all there so many things couldn't exist anymore. Like,
in fact, if you see any of the skits now, they edit them out, and like stuff like the explosions and the kabooms and all that, they take them out.
Yeah. That's pretty funny. All right, Josh, I'm at number 3.
All right.
First appearance 1959. Fred Flintstone.
I should have known.
I'm a huge Flintstones fan. I watched it every day as a kid. It was on during lunchtime. I don't know. I couldn't get enough of the Flintstones. And I mean, I'm sure, as you know, the character of Fred is based on the Jackie Gleason character from the show The Honeymooners. That's supposed to be what it is, which I vaguely remember as a kid and watching in black and white and reruns. The Flintstones is so awesome. Like, Fred Flintstone, he's this big loudmouth, you know, but you gotta love him. He's just this lovable loudmouth, right? And I'll tell you my favorite episode of the Flintstones. I believe the episode, I don't know what the name of the episode is called. I think it's called Dr. Sinister. Do you ever see this one? Fred and it's like a James Bond. Fred and Barney get mixed up in this James Bond style spy intrigue, and they have the villains are Madame Yes and Dr. Sinister, and then anyways, forget it. You don't know what I'm talking about, so that's okay. You know, she says to them, "You stupid good-lookings."
What I do remember is growing up in Montreal, if I was ever home on a weekday,
Oh yeah,
that I don't know if it was on at 12 or 12:30.
it was exactly. My wife told me that during elementary school and high school, like she lived close enough to her school that she was able to walk home and eat lunch at home almost every day. So she told me that she watched the Flintstones every day at lunchtime at home, even when she's like in school. You know, so pretty funny.
I know at least 2 of our listeners who will be very happy that you have the Flintstones in your list.
All right, let's hear your number 2, Josh.
So number 2 for me is another Looney Tunes character, probably the most important Looney Tunes character, Bugs Bunny.
What's up, Doc?
He's not number 1?
He's not number 1, believe it or not.
Oh my God, I'm in shock.
It was actually quite tough because he could have easily been number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But because all these others were Looney Tunes, I figured I'd put them all together.
Yeah.
My number 1 is not from Looney Tunes, just so you know.
Let me guess your favorite episode of Bugs Bunny.
Okay, let's see if you can guess.
The Rabbit of Seville.
Yes, but isn't it called The Barber of Seville?
Well, the song is called The Barber of Seville, but I believe that skit is called The Rabbit of Seville. Just like when they have Robin Hood, the skit is called Rabbit Hood. You know, like, yeah.
It's a great skit. Not only is it a great skit, I actually bought the DVD of the actual Barber of Seville, and I have that song on my phone, and I listen to it because it's such a great song.
That's so great.
But I didn't know about the song until I saw the Bugs Bunny skit.
That's it. But us as kids, Bugs Bunny taught us a lot about life of our parents' age, right? We watched this show in the 70s and 80s, but these cartoons were made in the 30s even. Bugs Bunny started in 1938. These cartoons were made in the 40s and the 50s, right?
Yeah.
So the cultural references are completely like unrelatable to us, and I mean to my kids now, they would look at this and say, "What the hell is this?" You know. Although my kids, even when they were young, could watch the Coyote and the Roadrunner and still laugh out loud because it was funny as hell, right?
Now, by the way, also voiced by Mel Blanc and created by Ben Hardaway and Tex Avery.
Tex Avery, he's all over the Looney
Yeah.
Tunes stuff. Yeah. All right, my number 2. I don't know if this guy's going to be on your list as number 1 or not, Josh.
So hold on. So we have none the same, right?
Well, I haven't. No, so far, no.
Okay, go ahead.
My number 2 is Snoopy.
Wow.
You don't like Snoopy?
I didn't say that.
Oh, okay.
I just said, wow. I didn't know that you liked Snoopy. I had no idea.
I love Snoopy. He never said a word except for mumbling. As a matter of fact, because he started as a comic strip, and they used to see, you could see his thoughts in the comic strip, you know, in the thought bubbles. So that gave people like an insight into what Snoopy was thinking. But when they made it animated on television or in movies, he would type on his typewriter, and that would give you the insight to like what he was thinking, which was pretty clever. It started, his first appearance is 1950. Like I said, it's mostly comic strips, but then eventually there was tons of cartoons. I mean, who doesn't know like all the Christmas specials and the Thanksgiving and the Halloween? Like as a kid, I used to look forward to those Charlie Brown episodes around the holidays. I mean, kids nowadays know him sort of as the mascot for MetLife, right? Like the insurance company. He has an awesome sidekick, Woodstock, who actually could make this list at some point, but Woodstock is like, he's more of a minor character. And my favorite Snoopy, I don't want to say episode because it's a movie, a full-length movie from 1972, which is Snoopy Come Home. I'm sure you've seen this before, right?
Of course.
I mean, no dogs allowed. That goes for birds.
No dogs allowed. No dogs allowed. No dogs allowed. That goes for birds.
I think I'm going to watch it this afternoon, actually. I don't know when I'm going to find it, but I'm going to try to watch it. Okay. I had the VHS tape of Snoopy Come Home that I bought for my kids to watch, and they watched it millions of times when they were really little.
So number 1 for me is Snoopy.
Oh, there you go. So you see, our lists do have something in common.
I didn't even know that you even liked Snoopy, so I was stunned when I heard you
Snoopy.
say it. So a few things about Snoopy that you didn't mention. In no particular order. Snoopy has 5 brothers: Spike, Andy, Olaf, Marbles, and Rover.
I didn't know that. I knew about Spike because Spike, they mention him or you even see him, I think, in some of the cartoons.
Right. Snoopy also has 2 sisters, Belle and Molly. I didn't know any of this.
No, me neither.
More importantly, so created by Charles M. Schultz.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the movie. I love that movie. I love that movie. Not only do I love that movie, I own the book.
There's a book?
There's a book, and I own it.
Oh, that's great.
The Snoopy Come Home book.
Snoopy, Snoopy, why, oh, why did you go? Come home, Snoopy, Snoopy, come home, Snoopy, come home.
Wow.
So I will try and dig up that book. I think it's in Montreal somewhere. I don't have it here in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So you were mentioning all those holiday specials that happened, the Peanuts holiday specials.
Yeah.
You know, there's a Christmas one and a Thanksgiving one and a Halloween one.
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Exactly. And there's others that I'm sure you don't know. So anytime those are on, I record them and I have them all on my PVR right now.
Now?
Right
Really?
now.
That's great.
Still. They're still on my PVR right now.
I think they've like retuned them. Like, I mean, in terms of the animation, they made the animation look better.
Sometimes,
with
yes.
modern
And they're
technology.
always on, by the way, when they're always on ABC. No other network.
Always. That's true. That's true. So my number 1 was in your list, and that's Bugs Bunny.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't believe Bugs Bunny wasn't number 1 for you. Like, I don't even understand that.
So we have the same 1 and 2, just in the reverse order.
The same 1 and 2. So, I mean, there's too many shows. There's too many skits and episodes to mention. You said everything there is to say pretty much about Bugs Bunny. I wrote down, like, the Rabbit Hood and the Rabbit of Seville are, like, 2 of the classic episodes. And then, of course, his most famous catchphrase of all. Well, I don't know if it's the most famous, but it's the one I like the best, which is, I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
And actually, my favorite skit of any of the Looney Tunes includes all the characters. All of them. Every single one possible. Which is Overture Curtains Lights.
I like that song, actually.
I love that song. You know what's great? You know that episode of Seinfeld where Jerry sings it?
I don't remember that.
It's when they're waiting outside the opera in the tuxedo. He's waiting with Elaine.
We're gonna miss the overture.
Overture, curtains, lights. This is it. We'll hit the height. And what heights we'll hit. On with the show. This is it.
You know, it is so sad. All your knowledge of high culture comes from Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Good list, Josh. Good list.
I'm surprised that we had 2 of the same.
Yeah.
And they were just reversed.
I'm going to do rapid fire honorable mentions.
Go.
I have too many, so I'm just going to do them quick.
Mm-hmm.
If there would have been a number 8 on my list, Yosemite Sam. I was surprised he didn't make your list. Sorry, I said I'm not going to say anything, but surprised he didn't make your list just because of Whoa Camel.
That's true.
Yeah.
Good point.
And when I say whoa, I mean whoa. Although so many things that Yosemite Sam did, like you said, like they could not make that cartoon today. They couldn't. So honorable mentions on my list: Charlie Brown, Tweety, Marvin the Martian, SpongeBob, SquarePants, Boris and Natasha, Scooby-Doo, the Pink Panther, the Jetsons, Underdog, Spider-Man, specifically the 1990s series, Wile E. Coyote, Foghorn Leghorn, Mickey Mouse, Stewie Griffin from The Family Guy. I don't know if you ever watched that. And I just wanted to say I'm apologizing because people are going to listen to this list and think we're out of our minds because we don't have any people from The Simpsons, like the most iconic.
You don't need to
animated
apologize
show.
for that.
Yeah, but there are many big Simpsons fans. Just to say, like, I don't watch Simpsons. You don't watch Simpsons. They didn't make our list. Sorry.
I thought you used to love The Simpsons.
I liked it like season 1, which is already, 30 years ago? You know?
So my honorable mentions are Marvin the Martian, Speedy Gonzales, Daffy Duck, Foghorn Leghorn, Yosemite Sam, Pepe Le Pew, Elmer Fudd, the Tasmanian Devil, Charlie Brown, Linus, Pigpen, Woodstock, and last but not least, a character that I don't think anyone ever saw, but you heard, the teacher on the Peanuts.
Oh yeah, the teacher's great. You never saw it. You heard, but you didn't understand.
Wah wah,
Also.
wah 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 wah.
Yeah. All right.
That's how the teacher sounded.
Yeah, great way to end the list, Josh. People can interpret that wah wah any way they want.
Exactly.
Right. But as a kid, when you heard that wah wah wah, it resonated because that's like your teacher talking and you just not listening.
Exactly.
You know? It's brilliant in a way.
Exactly.
The Skip and Josh podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. If you listen to the show through Apple Podcasts, please leave a review. To interact with the show, send an email to skipandjoshshow@gmail.com. Follow the show on Twitter @skipandjosh, and go to facebook.com/skipandjosh to like the show page. To see links mentioned on today's episode, go to skipandjosh.com. And now for some final thoughts from the guys.
I do have a bunch of things that I wanted to end the show with. I hope it's not too long. The world of sports in the last 2 weeks since we spoke, I have a list of like huge idiots. Idiots galores.
We can play that game that we played a few weeks ago.
I was gonna, but it's so hard to know who's the bigger idiot. So Jerry Jones saying that the Cowboys are gonna play this year in front of fans, right?
Well, you know what? Apparently there were fans at a Montreal soccer game this week.
I know. 250 though. Jerry Jones wants to have 80,000 fans in the stadium. It's a little bit of a difference, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Dan Snyder, owner of the Washington football team. I mean, Google it. You can read about all the stuff that came out this week about Dan Snyder. Basically,
but all those things are currently allegations, so we don't know if they're true yet. So we can't convict him yet.
No, but I mean, basically, the accusation is that he's using the cheerleaders as sort of porn stars. So that's or prostitutes, whatever. Earl Thomas, basically punching a bunch of teammates and getting cut by the Baltimore Ravens right before the season starts. Indians pitchers Mike Clevenger and Zach Plesac. You heard about these two guys?
Of course.
Yeah, so you have to Google that too if you don't know what I'm talking about. But basically, they got kicked off the team because they went out partying and then told the team, "Oh, we came in, we were in curfew and we didn't break any rules." And you know, the Indians have a pitcher on their team who's basically a cancer survivor who's last year, you know, so he's at risk just from their behavior.
Clevenger was reinstated and pitched this week.
Oh, wow.
But Plesac has not been reinstated.
This ends up happening because Clevenger is one of the best pitchers in the league, right? So they need him. Alain Vigneault, basically for defending his Matt Niskanen, who broke Brendan Gallagher's jaw in a playoff game. And so Niskanen cross-checks Gallagher in the mouth, breaks his jaw, and in the next day, Vigneault's like, well, you know, Gallagher's short. You know, it's not Niskanen's fault. And then my number one, which I mean, my number one thing is something that happened literally 2 weeks ago almost, and this is Fernando Tatis hits a home run against the Texas Rangers, and on a 3-0 count, and then in the post-game press conference, the Rangers manager Chris Woodward, is that it?
I think that's his name. Yeah.
Yeah, former major leaguer, basically says like he was showing them up by swinging at a 3-0 count, like breaking an unwritten rule. Like I was like, what unwritten rule? Now you're not allowed to swing at 3-0 counts anymore? Like what is he supposed to do? Sit there, watch the next pitch go over the plate for a 3-1, and then he can hit a home run on the next pitch? That's okay? Like,
yeah, it's a
that
joke.
is like that like honestly, Woodward got roasted by all the media. Everybody thought he's a clown, and he is a clown.
Not only that, so the very next batter after Tatis hits the grand slam, I think was Manny Machado, and Machado either if he didn't get hit by the pitch, the pitcher threw behind him and almost hit him in the head or something.
Yeah, I mean that's just stupid, you know.
But
like
the pitcher and the manager were both suspended for that.
Yeah. Well, the
which they
rules
should have been.
The umpires are always hamstrung in these situations because all they can do is sort of throw people out and give warnings, and they're always in a bad situation. But like, It's just so ridiculous. If the Rangers don't want him to swing at a 3-0 pitch, right? They're saying Woodward should come out and tell the umpire, we forfeit, game over, let's go home. Because
or they can walk him intentionally.
Or they could walk him intentionally. But if you're pitching to him, means you're still trying to win the game. Like, if you're still trying to win the game, then I'm still trying to win the game, right? If you forfeit, I'll go home and take the win. If you're sending your batters up there and you're still trying to win the game, I'm still going to try to hit home runs. Like, what are you supposed to do? Tell the guy not to try hard? Like, not to get a hit? Like, it's the most absurd thing.
I was very happy to see that a lot of people came to Tatis's defense. Like, he apologized, which he had no business apologizing.
I was so mad that he apologized. He has nothing to apologize for. But he apologized because he said he missed the sign because they told him to take his third base coach.
And then I don't remember exactly what Trevor Bauer said, but Trevor Bauer basically defended him. And this is one of the reasons that I like Trevor Bauer.
Well, he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he said basically what I've been saying. Listen, your job is to try to get the batter out. If you can't get him out, then too bad.
Right. You can't get him out. Too bad.
You know that I think the San Diego Padres hit grand slams in 4 consecutive games, which is a major league record, like an all-time record since baseball ever began.
Wow. Well, Tatis Jr. is an unbelievable player.
He is.
He really is. I'm not following baseball like I mentioned last time. I'm not really following it that much, but like when you look at his stats, they're obscene, no?
They are.
Yeah, he's going to go 20-20 in like a 70-game season. Right?
Yeah,
20 home runs, 20 steals. Yeah. Yeah.
So we talked about something, and I don't know if we talked about it on air or off air a few weeks ago. I have confirmed that the NHL players that are in the bubble do have a separate practice facility where they can practice when they don't have games.
Right. I saw that the next day after our episode because someone posted a picture of a practice. So I was like, oh, okay. I guess there is practice. Good show, Josh. Next week is my topic, the best sports uniforms. So you better get cracking on that.
Not next week. I need 2 weeks.
Next episode. Next episode, not next week. In 2 weeks, the best sports uniform. So start your research.
I'm going to enjoy that episode a lot.
I don't know if I'm going to.
What was your category?
I know. All right. I will talk to you in 2 weeks.
You'll talk to me whenever you talk to me.
Yeah, I know. Bye.
Bye.